Right, so welcome everyone to our Monday evening yin class. So you might need a couple of pillows, blanket, cushion, but it'd be really good if you could grab a blanket or a towel that you could roll up into a sausage shape for one of the poses. But we will start lying down, so come to lie on your back. You can either have the soles of the feet on the mat, the knees bent if that feels good for the lower back, or you could lengthen the legs if that feels fine. And just check if the shoulders need to roll down the back, the chin towards the chest, and just settle in. And as you settle in, take a couple of longer, deeper breaths. So really fill the belly, fill the lungs. Maybe there's a little pause at the top. And then a long exhale, maybe through the mouth. Feel a kind of sense of releasing here. Do that a couple of times. And then allow your breath just to return to a natural rhythm where there's nothing you need to actually do. Just let yourself settle in. And hold a little bit of your awareness on the breath. So even though you're just letting the breath come and go, you're just resting here. So this week we're moving into appreciation. And appreciation is said to be the fuel for happiness. It really helps us to see all the beauty and wonder that is available to us in any given moment. And it can often be things like expectations, maybe expectations of ourselves, of people in our lives, of the experiences we have or expect to have. It's often what prevents us from seeing that beauty. So our classes this week will focus on how we can let go of expectations and invite in appreciation. And Tony Robbins says, happiness is found in the absence of expectation and a continuous focus on appreciation. So I think the really important bit there is the continuous focus on appreciation. So we have, you could think of it like a gratitude muscle. It's like any other muscle in the body. It needs to be worked. It needs to be flexed to remain strong. So we'll explore this as we move through our practice. But as ever, just sensing how it feels just to be here in your body, on your mat, on the ground. Nothing to do, nowhere to get to. Just a sense of being. And then allow your awareness to rest inside the heart, the kind of energetic or spiritual heart, center of the chest. Perhaps you notice the breath come and go at this point. And offering your heart maybe a few deep, grateful breaths. Your heart that loves, your heart that forgives, your heart that breaks and heals. Just resting in the presence of your heart. with that kind of infinite capacity to feel and to enrich your life, to bring you pleasure and joy and happiness. And noticing any sense of warmth or relaxation or openness that comes from that awareness. Or anything else that you sense, just breathing into whatever is there. Can you consider maybe who or what is in your heart? What do you feel, or who do you feel a bit glad about? Maybe it's family or friends or pets, or experiences or things in your life that you just feel really grateful that they're there. And then take another long deep breath. And as you exhale, just begin to bring a little bit of movement into fingers and toes. Hugging the knees into the chest. Have a little rock side to side. And then we're going to roll over to one side, or roll on the length of the spine to come back up. And then we're going to use that blanket that you've created. Sorry Gladys, you weren't there right at the beginning, but we've just got a blanket or a towel that we can roll up into a long shape. Not too big, so what we're going to do is bring that underneath the shoulder blades and roll over the back. So that basically it's kind of below the shoulder blades, and then the shoulders roll over the top, and then the hands, you might come cactus arms, so elbows in line with shoulders, or you might find you can go further and take the hands over the head, maybe taking the wrist or the elbows, but try to be in a place where you can soften and release. For me it's definitely elbows in line with shoulders. That kind of helps me to feel grounded here. But equally, if that's still too much, you could just bring the hands back down onto belly or pelvis or out to the side. And really what we're trying to look for here is that kind of opening into the center of the chest. It might feel pretty strong. So try to be in a place that you can stay with. So we're going to be here for a couple of minutes. So with our yin practice, we move into postures where we can just pause and be with. So our physical edge becomes really important. So don't go beyond a place where you can't release. So if there's tension in the shoulders or the neck, you're just not going to be able to soften into this. So try to find a posture that works. And then we just see if we can allow the body just to be here. And the breath can be really useful if the sensations are very strong. So you could feel that the breath helps you to soften and release. And you might continue to explore just what is there in the heart for you. Maybe you feel physical sensations around the heart. Maybe you sense a kind of warmth or connection. Or maybe there's not a huge amount. And that's okay as well, so just be aware, it's your experience, there's no right or wrong. And then taking a long deep breath in, and could you just pause at the top of that breath, holding the breath slightly just for a couple of moments. And then a long exhale when you're ready to release. And then beginning to roll back out. So you might roll onto one side to come out, or you might roll back up in any way that makes sense. And when you do, we'll come into tabletop. So hips over knees, shoulders over wrists, and the fingertips nicely spread. And the idea with that posture, certainly for me, what I find is it gives me that kind of imprint across the kind of center to upper chest, and you can kind of sense that almost imprint as you move through the rest of your practice. So see if that's what you feel. So with a couple of rounds of cat-cow, you can tuck the toes, take an inhale, allow the belly to drop, gaze upwards. And then as you exhale, untuck the toes, press the tops of the feet into the mat, chin towards chest, press the hands into the mat. Do that a couple of times, but moving slowly and mindfully through that. There's no rush. See if you can slow the breath down just a little so that the movement slows down with the breath. Exhaling, drawing belly in, chin towards chest, pressing through the hands, and that broadening across shoulders. Do one more, inhaling. And then exhale. And then come back to a neutral spine. And then press that left hand into the mat and take an inhale and raise the right hand. So you're opening up through the shoulder, and then as you exhale, bring that right hand underneath the left. And you could either just settle straight down, so the shoulder and the side of the head coming down, or take another inhale and reach that hand back up to the top. It might feel nice to move for these first few postures. Inhaling up to the top, and then exhaling, releasing underneath. And then you want to really reach over with that right hand as far as is comfortable. Bring the shoulder down and the side of the head down. And if it feels like there's a lot of pressure on the head, make sure you have a pillow or a folded blanket there for the head to rest on. And that left hand might just stay where it is, or you might reach it forward, or you might bring it behind the back. But it's always in a place where you can just rest into. So again, we'll be here a couple of minutes, so make sure you're not going beyond that physical edge, a place where you can pause and be with. And really allow the breath to flow. And then the idea with these poses is that we want to just be present and be still. But we always know that if we've gone beyond our edge, we can come back out. We don't have to stay there in pain or discomfort. So really listening to your body. So there are many things that we kind of expect in life. We can expect warm water from our taps. We expect our fridge to keep our food cool and fresh. We expect our legs to take us where we want them to go. We expect our cars to start, or even our phones to have Wi-Fi. Pretty much we expect to gain almost immediate access to almost anything that we want. And then if you add in a sense of stress, overwhelm to our expectations, it's that reptilian part of the brain, that oldest part of the brain, that adds a certain level of fear to our expectations. So we might start expecting our friends to disappoint us, maybe our partner to be late, the kids to be ungrateful, or maybe colleagues to let us down. And these expectations can then kind of shape our reality of things. So remembering that that oldest part of the brain has evolved to be aware of negativity. That's its job. what it's actually trying to do is keep us safe. It thinks by kind of looking out for all of the negativity we can stay safe. But in our modern day world, it's not so helpful. So this is where our kind of gratitude practice comes in. So take another inhale, nice long breath, maybe pausing at the top. If that left hand is behind you, bring it back down onto the mat. Press into the hand to come back to your tabletop. And you might do some movement at this point, cat-cow, or circling through the hips, or you might just sit back to child's pose and rest for a moment. So when you come out of these yin postures, it's really be guided by what your body is saying. So sometimes it's stillness that you just need to be able to just watch and feel all of that. And then sometimes you need to kind of release. So, but whatever you do, it's very mindful. Slow, mindful movement, or a mindful stillness, watching what's going on. And then when you're ready to move on to the other side, come back to your tabletop, press the right hand into the mat, inhale the left hand up, reaching and opening through the side, and as you exhale, sweep the arm underneath. You're welcome to just settle straight in if you would like to, or just inhale, lifting back up again a couple of times, opening through shoulder and side body. Inhaling. And as you exhale and settle down, really reach that left hand as far over as you can, and then the shoulder and the cheek coming down. Choose where that right hand goes. It might reach forward, but the elbow is soft and bent. It might reach behind, or it might just stay where it is, where it most comfortably sits. Settle in, and remember, if there's a lot of pressure into the head, do have something soft underneath, particularly if you've got a hard floor. Feeling that sense of letting go where you can. So yin is basically the opposite of yang. Yang is all the doing, and really our modern world is the representative of yang. And yin is the kind of softer quality. That letting go, that allowing, and that nourishment and that rest. And we need both. It's not saying one is bad and one is good. We need both. But we need a balance. So yin, you can kind of almost feel that it's like this antidote to our busy 24/7 world. So we could consider what would our lives look and feel like if we were able to really gladden our minds away from expectation and towards a sense of appreciation and thankfulness. You know, even just a few times a day, if we put our feet firmly on the ground and felt grateful for gravity and that sense of the earth holding us, supporting us. And what if when we were feeling stressed and overwhelmed, if we had a few deep breaths and felt grateful for the intelligence of our bodies, for our breath, the ability for it to bring us back to the present and to soothe us. You know, those things that are already there. You know, maybe it's a kind word from a friend or a loved one, or even someone we don't know that well. You know, those connections we make in life, or even on a sunny day, just feeling grateful for that warmth and for the sun itself. Or maybe that gratitude for nature and bird song, and, you know, grateful basically for the miracle of life. And what would that be like if we were able to do that moment by moment? Take another deep inhale here. And if that right hand is behind you, just release it back down. Press into the hand and lift back up. And as ever, find some movement or find stillness. What would be right in this moment for your body? So there is no right or wrong with this. Just feeling into what would be good. And then when you're ready, we're going to come down onto our belly and into Sphinx. So forearms onto the mat, elbows either underneath the shoulders, so directly underneath the shoulders, or further forward. So it's going to depend where the lower back is or how the lower back is here. So if you find that the elbow is underneath the shoulders, there's actually a little bit of a pinch into the lower back. You don't want to stay there. That's not good for the lower back, and you won't be able to stay for long. So bring the elbows a little bit further forward. You could bring the hands into the temples so that you've got a kind of ledge for the head. Just make sure you're not pinching into the back of the neck. So almost draw the chin slightly towards the chest, so you're lengthening through the back of the neck as well, if you choose that one. That's my preferred option when I'm feeling it in the lower back. I can sense that the belly can soften into the earth a bit more here, and that might be where you need to be today. So choose where is right for you. Equally, if that's still too much, you can bring the the forehead down onto the hands or onto the earth. You know, it's still a back bend when you're lying on belly. So softening in. So Albert Einstein said there are only two ways to live your life: as though nothing is a miracle, or as though everything is a miracle. So can we kind of be aware of that miracle of life? The miracle that we're here, that we're breathing. Of all the beauty and wonder and access to so many good things. Healthcare, freedom of speech, clean running water, shelter over our head. You know, these are the kind of very basic things. And there will be very personal things to you that you feel grateful for. And those little miracles that happen throughout the day that most of the time we're not aware of. So remember, because of the negativity bias, we need 5 good, positive things to outweigh 1 negative. So being aware of that positivity can really help to release that bias within the mind and change the neural pathways. And there's actually science that's backing this up now as well. It's not just some hippie stuff. So when you're ready, take another long deep breath. Maybe there's a little pause at the top of that breath where you feel full and expanded. And then exhale, release, and either bring one cheek onto the mat and bring the arms beside the body, or if that doesn't feel right, bring the head onto the hands and just rest. So you're just resting the belly down. And if you feel okay with stillness, you can just stay there, or if you feel you could do with a little bit of movement, bring the feet into the air and move the feet side to side. Again, no right or wrong. bring the hands back under the shoulders to move back towards your child's pose. And just rest in your child's pose for a few breaths there. So just releasing that back bend. You could bring the arms beside the body, or you could have the hands outstretched, or maybe make a pillow with the hands for the head. So we won't be here too long. You won't need your bolster or anything, but just a few breaths to release the back. As you breathe, you might feel that you breathe a little bit deeper into the center of the chest and the upper back. So almost like shoulder blades, or where the rolled up blanket was. Basically all around the heart. And then when you're ready, inhale to come to tabletop. And then having the hips over the knees, so nicely stacking there, walk the hands forward, forearms coming down, and then keeping the hips over the knees. See if you can reach the hands further forward, and then bring maybe chin, forehead down, or grab a cushion for the forehead, or equally just keep a bend into the elbows. So this can be pretty strong into shoulders and upper arms. So try and find a place where you can settle. Yeah, lovely. So expressing gratitude not only to others but also to ourselves has been shown in positive psychology research to kind of induce positive emotions and primarily happiness. So by producing feelings of pleasure and contentment, gratitude can impact our overall health and well-being. And simple things like a gratitude journal can reduce stress, improve quality of sleep. It can build emotional awareness. And it can also act like a natural antidepressant. So remember, this is being shown in research now. Almost has the same effects as medication. Producing that kind of long-lasting happiness and contentment that we're so often looking for. And it's also been shown that the brain releases dopamine and serotonin, so those kind of feel-good hormones responsible for our happy emotions, if you like. And they are released when we practice gratitude. And it really is all about those neural pathways. So we know the reptilian brain is more likely to focus on negativity, so it'll keep moving down those neural pathways. But if we know that, so we can be aware of that, and then we can actively seek out positivity. And over time it gets easier. So for a while you might need to see it as a practice, but then over time it becomes a habit. So take another inhale here. Long breath. And then when you're ready, exhale, release. And you might go back to your child's pose, or you might come back onto your belly, or you might come to tabletop, have some movement, or even a down dog if that feels good and the energy levels are there for a down dog. So really any movement that feels good, or just simple stillness. ready, we'll come to sit. So we'll do half butterfly. So we'll bring right leg out to the side, bend into the left leg, and then bring the sole of the foot into the thigh. So as far as that leg goes out, so you're going to fold over this leg, so it's going to be a stretch along that side. So maybe you bring the leg in a little if that feels better. For more stretch, you obviously bring the leg further out. Then bring the hands beside the hips and just take an inhale, find some lift. And if you do need to sit on something, if you feel that that would give you some lift into the pelvis, make sure you do that as well. So you're inhaling, lifting up, so you're getting that length in the spine. And then as you exhale, draw the belly over the leg, keep the heel pressed away, and then take another inhale, lift and lengthen. And then as you exhale, begin to walk your way down that leg. So remember, you're going to be here for several minutes. So you might be just here. You might have something where you can rest. I know some of you have bolsters, so you could rest your head on a bolster here. Or you might be further down and can rest your head on a cushion, maybe towards the knee. But try to find a place where you can soften. So ideally, palms facing up, elbows bending. And that's just a reminder to not try to get towards the toes, towards the foot. That's not the aim. The aim is to just be fully present in your body. Really feeling all of those sensations and creating a softness. So there might be a strong sensation along that left side of the back, into the hip. See if you can allow that to release and ground. And remember, if you've gone too far, you can come back up and find a place where you can settle. And as you rest here, you might just use a few longer exhalations to just see if you can let go a little bit. When the sensations are strong, it's almost like you just need to reassure the body that it is okay to let go. So your awareness in the body is so important. The body knows you're listening, and it will feel safer to let go, safer to release. And there's no striving, there's no pushing, there's nowhere to get to. Just being here. Keep a little bit of awareness on the exhalation, helping you to soften. So notice if your mind gets busy. Notice if your mind takes you away from just being with the breath and the body. Notice where the mind takes you. And remember, no judgment here. We're just building our awareness. And once you've noticed, you've become aware again. You're awake again. Your awareness can then just settle back with the breath and the body. So take another long, deep breath. Maybe there's that little pause at the top. And a long exhale. And then slowly walk your way back up. Help the legs to release. And before you do the other side, you might just bend the knees and just rest. You might lengthen the legs, you might bring the hands behind, lift the heart. You might move the knees side to side. Or even lift the pelvis and press into the hands. So just go with where is right. And when you're ready to move to the other side, lengthen that left leg, bend into the right, bring the sole of the foot in. And remember, as far out as you bring the leg, you're going to intensify the stretch on that right side of the back. So take that leg where you need to. Inhale, lifting the heart, lengthening the back. And as you exhale, turn to look over that leg. Make sure the heel is pressing away. Take another inhale. And then as you exhale, softening in and just exploring where your edge might be on this side. See if you can move into a place where the elbows can bend and the palms can face up. So that there's a release and a softening. And it might not be the same as the other side. So yeah, do something different if you need to. Propping yourself or using cushions. And then really release any idea of striving. Nowhere to get to. And become aware of that right hip and right side of the pelvis and the back, and just see if you can really soften. There might be a kind of holding there because the body's reluctant to let go into that. Just see if you can explore that, soften around it with the breath and with your awareness. So it seems to me that we focus on the obstacles and the difficulties in life because they demand some form of action. You know, we have to fight and overcome them, or at least that's what the mind thinks, to get back to a kind of normal flow of life. So on the other side of that, we forget to attend to all the good things in life because they're already there. You know, we don't have to do anything to make them be there because they're already there. So practicing gratitude is the best way to remind ourselves of the things that make us happy. So it's almost like a remembering. And there are many different ways that we can do this. Journaling, I know, won't be for everybody. But you might have like a gratitude rock or stone or something that you keep in your pocket or bedside table. And just when you see it, feel it in your pocket, you kind of remember to be grateful. Remember to consider all the good stuff in life. In the same way that you might go for a mindful walk, you might go for a gratitude walk. So when you're walking, just considering all the things you feel glad about. And when you're sitting down to eat a meal, you might be aware of where the food came from, or consider where it came from. So kind of mindfully feeling appreciation for all the people that brought that food to your table. Take another long deep breath. Little pause at the top. And a long exhale. And then rolling back up. Help the knees to bend, any movement that you need, or just simply pausing. And then we're going to use our pillows, or if you have a bolster, you're welcome to use your bolster. So we're going to create a back bend, or an opening for belly and chest. So if you're using your pillows, try to make sure that you have a little step between each thing that you pop on top. Maybe a cushion for the head, and then the pelvis nice and close. Really draw your cushions, your pillows into the pelvis, and then rolling over. And as you settle down, whichever one you're using, come to a place where the palms can face upwards. And allow the elbows to soften, the shoulders to soften. You might have the soles of the feet on the mat and the knees softly touching. So bring the feet a little bit wider than the hips so that the knees can touch. Or you're welcome to lengthen the legs or bring the soles of the feet together, have the knees wide. But really you're just looking for somewhere that the legs can relax, where there's nothing to do. But allow the palms to face upwards. So one of my favorite practices for gratitude is this 10-finger gratitude, which many of you will have done with me before. I find it really powerful. So we'll be here a little while, so do make sure that you're comfy. If you need any extra props or anything for the head, do grab that now. And really let yourself settle in. So feeling the weight of the head, the shoulders, back of the body, really resting. And feel the breath just coming and going. That sense of nothing you need to do, the body just breathing on its own. And what a miracle that is. And then become aware of the hands, the palms of the hands. And become aware of the fingers and the thumbs. And then become particularly aware of the right hand thumb. And at the very tip of that right hand thumb, can you just plant a little seed of gratitude here? Just considering something, someone that you feel grateful for. Feel that you plant it here at the tip of the thumb. Then when you have that, move on to the index finger. Be aware of the index finger and all the sensations there. And at the tip of the index finger, plant a little seed of gratitude. Something or someone that you feel grateful for. And taking your time, moving to the middle finger and feeling the middle finger. feeling the tip of the finger, and seeing what little piece of gratitude lands there. Just let whatever bubbles up to be planted there. And then moving to ring finger, feeling the ring finger, feeling the tip of the finger. Who or what are you planting here? It's a little bit of appreciation. And then moving to the little finger. Take a moment to feel and sense, and then planting your gratitude there. And then moving over to the left hand, feeling into the left hand, particularly that thumb on the left hand. Planting your seed of gratitude. And then the index finger. And then the middle finger. And then the ring finger. And then the little finger. And then can you sense and feel all the fingers and thumbs, and all of that gratefulness, that thankfulness at the tips of the fingers and thumbs. And then as you inhale, can you imagine breathing from the tips of the fingers and thumbs all the way up through the arms and into the heart? And as you exhale, it's as if that gratitude moves through the rest of the body, as if the exhale allows the gladness to move through the whole body. So doing that a few times with your breath, breathing from the fingertips through the arms and the shoulders into the heart. And as you exhale, it flows down to belly and pelvis, legs and feet. Another breath, another exhale sends it up into the neck and the head. And just imagining this appreciation moving through the whole body, filling your whole body with gratitude. Begin to take some longer, deeper breaths. you feel ready, a little bit of movement, perhaps fingers first, fingertips moving. And then whatever way makes sense for you to come out. So you might roll off your pillows or bolster and just move them out of the way. So we'll come onto our backs, but just take your time to get there. Coming onto your back and drawing the knees in. And you might just interlace the fingers around the knees and just almost like settle there so that the arms can just kind of be heavy, nothing that you actually really need to do, and the knees just soften in towards belly. Or it might actually feel better to move, so move side to side, circle the hips, or anything else that makes sense. So listen into that. Just make sure that there is a softness into the neck and the shoulders. So you're not pulling on anything. You're allowing that release. And then reach between the legs to take hold of the ankles. And allow the shoulder blades to really soften down into the earth. So you're happy baby. And this might be where you stay. Because remember, you'll be here for a little while. So this is, you're really looking for your edge in your happy baby as much as any other pose. Or you might feel that you can bring the soles of the feet into the air and take the outsides of the feet. But that can be pretty strong. And just make sure that there's no issues that then happen into the neck. Or even lower back and tailbone. So a couple of minutes here, just creating some softness. Allowing the back of the body to lengthen again. You might find a few deep exhalations maybe allows you to soften the shoulders down a bit further. Or maybe the tailbone lengthening away. Really just feeling as if the spine is becoming long again. And then take another long deep breath. And as you exhale, release. And any last little movements that you need before your Shavasana. You're welcome to just go straight to your Shavasana, maybe bringing something underneath the knees, pillow or bolster if you have one. Or maybe you keep the knees bent, soles of the feet onto the mat. And make yourself super comfortable for the last few minutes together here, resting in. And check if shoulders could rest further away from the head. Chin towards chest. Maybe the hands are away from the body, palms up, or maybe they're on the body, on the heart or on the belly. And feeling that support from the earth, that unconditional support from the earth, so that you can fully let go. And see if you can rest your awareness just on the breath and maybe particularly the exhalation. Allowing you to soften just that little bit further. So beginning to enjoy your breath again. Long inhales. Maybe there's a sigh out through the mouth. And just slowly and gradually movement. Fingers, toes, hugging knees in. Maybe moving side to side or having a big stretch. And then slowly and gently coming back to sit. And just pausing there. And you might just here and now set an intention to continue to kind of work with gladdening your mind towards a sense of thankfulness. And even being curious about the ripple effects that it has in your life and how it makes you feel. Because when we start to see that, it kind of makes more sense to keep with that practice of gratitude, if we can actually see the benefits. So just notice as you move through the rest of your week. So bringing the hands to prayer, bowing down, slightly towards hands and heart, towards your practice, towards all of that gratitude that you've gathered within. And we'll close with one Om. Take a deep breath in. So thank you for your practice. Namaste.